time I've done this.
It's been
We're
quite a
live.
few years.
It
Good
has
job.
been quite a few years since we've done this.
Yeah. Thank me. I had to go into hiding.
No, we both needed to grow and flourish. Yeah. So, Grand Rising friends, thanks for joining the live. I'm Kendra.
Calling Christina. And
And go ahead.
sorry, we're
No.
I'm just seeing if we could see the chat, if there's anything that
Yep. I can see the chat.
okay.
Can you push the button? Do you have a button all the way to the left
Yeah, and it
underneath?
doesn't show anything, so it must not be connected yet.
Well, if
It's
you're
fine.
here viewing, how about you drop us some comments so that we can see what's going on? Try to figure all this out.
Okay,
But
it says I can join chat under another account, but we won't get into that right now.
oh, okay.
Okay. So I
Do you
guess
want to
I'll
go
just
ahead and
kind of,
introduce yourself? Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
there's a little bit of a lag, so I'm gonna try to do a 2-second pause, or I'm just gonna jump right into it. Um,
Heck yeah.
grew up Christian, grew up through Christianity. I would say more the spirit filled, prophesying and speaking words of love and worship. My parents are worship pastors. My sister sings. My brother sings and plays drums. And I was the one born with hearing aids. So I chose a different path of not being able to hear in this 3D world. Yet I hear on a whole nother level, which we will get into sometime, yes, tomorrow, one of our favorite words, somewhere in time and space. And it's been a interesting journey through having song in your heart, yet your body is on a different plane, I guess, and to try to reconcile the two. Anyways, so yeah, grew up, believing the Bible, the word, and understanding the concepts of faith and belief and all of that. Yet, when I had some situations show up in my life where I had questions, wait, do I not have enough faith? Because how did this happen? And so we're going to break all that open. And that's a little bit about me. And Kendra, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up with the Christian faith. I entered the cult as an adult. Led journey. I had to go through it to figure out what the heck everybody was talking about. Because, man, when you're in those circles, it's a whole new language. You have to learn all the Christianese and all the terms and when to say the hallelujahs and the amens. But, anyways, figure out what the heck they're talking about. Um, and when I got into it, boy, did I go deep. I started in the Word of Faith movement. I literally moved into a church and lived in the hood, like down in Detroit for a year, just fully submerged, serving people, loving people, learning true spirituality, true service and religion. I learned, the same time, walked through them, and man, has it been a journey. I went from that straight to kind of being like a free roller for Holy Spirit, like wherever Holy Spirit said go, that's what was up. So went from Detroit, moved to Minnesota for a while. I was in Minnesota, did ministry out there, and Spirit said go to California, and moved to California, and that's where we joined like full is it full service ministry? I don't know. Like that's actually where I got into like the healing and deliverance part of things, like spirit filled, um, and really learned some mechanics. And that's when my gifting really started to come online because I felt like I was allowed to tap into those places within. But then they started saying stuff, and it didn't really align with my experiences, and I had questions, and that's when spirit had me travel north or not North Korea, excuse me, South Korea, and um over into India. And that's actually where I was when we met. You called me through some super cool Facebook group, and we've kind of been inseparable ever since and doing our journey. And it's been almost 10 years, Christina, 8 years.
No shit.
Yeah, bro.
Dude, we've been through a lot. And our girls were little, and I call our little elves because they look like elves, but beautiful elves. And yeah, they were itty bitty. Now they're starting their periods and they're in school. And what the heck? Like, I'm not.
Not ready. La, la, la.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but because of our babies, we were introduced to K-pop Demon
Yeah.
Hunters. I came through before I even watched the movie. I was in love with the soundtrack, man. The soundtrack is it. It's amazing. And then my girl was like, Mom, you have to watch this movie. So we had a family date and we watched the movie, and my mind was blown. Blown.
Yeah.
It was so much visual, and I was like, I can't believe they're teaching this, and it's so cool that they're teaching this. But the part that I don't really like is it's taught as a cartoon, so we walk away like, oh, it's just a cartoon, it's not real. But no, bro, there's a lot of spiritual truths in there. A
Mhm.
lot, a lot, a lot.
Yeah. Yes. A
Do you
lot of
do you know?
elements in there that definitely we could take away that are living. The idea of the hone moon, which I'd like to kind of open up with. Notice the energy grid, how it covered the land, and what had to stay back, and how the people were influenced, and how they knew what they authorized in that energy grid. So that's key in this movie that I was able to connect with. And we are the voice. And that's
Yeah.
something that has been a struggle in my life. So that movie spoke to me through the power of our voice and what we say, how we say it, what tone are we in? Are we tuned in? There's a lot going on there that can affect our world. So, the idea of the demon slayer, I remember I've come across that movie and I was like, didn't really have any, I was neutral about it. And then I'm chatting with them on the phone and they're singing the songs and I'm going, okay. And they're like, Mom, you gotta watch this. They all thought of me as I watched the movie, and I was like, "Really? Okay." So, and I'm like, have no idea what I was getting myself into. I watched it by myself. I cried because not only the
Oh.
name drew me, because that element was speaking to me already for years, and I didn't even know, and just who she was in a different form. Rumi is a very famous poet about love and
Mm.
love for yourself, love how love is um yeah, that's a deep dive, but the name and how she was manifest in a different way and how she loved, um but it's so much her personal journey, and there was just so many elements that I resonated with in this movie, and the idea of what this demon slayer. Can you see me okay?
Mhm.
The Okay, let me just bring that closer. Um, the the idea of this demon if you notice who's in charge, Guima, maybe we should like spoiler alert, uh, if you haven't watched a
It's been
movie,
out for months, and they're fine.
yeah, yeah,
They're fine
yeah.
at this point.
So Guima is the main bad guy, if you will. He's the one that is a high level, I would say, dark avatar. I would just call it a dark avatar that knows how to manipulate people and shame based thinking and get in through that to bring your energy down and then manipulate you. So a lot of people carry shame and he feeds off of that. So when you comprehend how that could become a religion, I mean the religion of shame just is so built in the idea of what Christianity is built on. If you don't believe in Jesus, then you will go to hell. And that's a shame. Well, well, who says? Oh, well, the Bible says. Well, who wrote the Bible? So you start poking holes, and it makes people uncomfortable because we have constructs in our minds and we have our, thinking styles, and that style of thinking is a program to your brain, to your being. And if that feels threatened, you feel threatened, and then you feel that, and then you go to put your defenses up. And so now we have a dissonance here. And so do you want to kind of just pause here? How do you see demons? Because you mentioned you went through deliverance and healing and
Yeah.
all of that. So what did that show
Yeah,
you?
so I've had a really interesting journey with the whole, even the word demon, the whole thought process, everything, because of healing and deliverance. And I also used to be traumatized, back in the day when I first went into ministry and I moved into Jesus jail back down in Detroit, when I was living in the house of help. Hey, Chris Hubner's on. What's up, Hubner? um, yeah, so when I lived down in Jesus jail, I was actually like tortured, if you will, the same way that she kind of was by her patterns, right? Or the way that I don't even know his name. Who was the one that Rumi was in love with? Like the one that went
Oh,
Jen.
Jinyu, Jinyu,
Okay, him.
Jinyu.
Um, the way that shame used, like Guima used the voice of shame in his life and continually reminded him of stuff, but it was like I was attacked also through my vision. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember seeing stuff like appear before me, and it was just really scary if you don't know your authority. You don't know who you are, right? So and then going into deliverance ministry, and I would look at what we're calling and the way that people would hear spirit and the way that they would hear the demons and the way that they were being tortured, and then to use your authority to kick that stuff out or whatever. But like then going through like, wait a minute, I don't believe in hell anymore. That was misconstrued, so that we made this Disneyland out of all of these demons and all of these hierarchies and all of it, and coming back full circle, like, well, wait a minute, maybe that shit is true because of the shadow time matrix and all of this, and trying to figure out like how um Hubner said this place is definitely a trauma-based place to create loosh for them to eat off of. Absolutely. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been like a really interesting journey, and where I'm settled currently, not that I don't know if I plan on staying here because who knows what I'll believe tomorrow, but where I'm at now is like those voices, right? Like if we go, I'm like, I'm just gonna go all the way through because I'm like, I don't know, but like she was trapped. She was literally miserable and trying to perpetuate a world where she didn't even fit in because she was both, right? Like she was half demon and half demon hunter, if you will. But how do you do that? Bro, you have the patterns. You're going to be fully identified as a demon, right? And you're a hunter, so you're fully identified as a huntress. Right? So you got this internal war going on. And what happens? Genu comes and he uses all of her vulnerabilities against her, right? He takes all this information, and that's the way that dark avatars play,
Mm-hmm.
right? They use the information they get in, and it doesn't just stay with them because they're connected to that whole freaking realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same way he was connected to Guima. As soon as something happened in his sphere, Guima was aware of it, and so were all of the other demons in that realm, the
Mm-hmm.
shadow realm, and they all came and used her stuff. That's how, when they posed as her bandmates on stage, they were using the vulnerabilities, right? They ripped her clothes off to expose her patterns, and that process sucks. That process hurts. But when you lean into it, what did she get? She got the freedom she was freaking looking for but didn't have the balls to do, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
just call it what it is.
Yep.
She was able to move in that direction, and it sucks when you go through those, I call those tower moments. Right? If we integrate the tarot into it, like that is definitely a tower moment when all hell breaks loose in your life. But what's really happening? Literally all of those things come up, and what do? You just I lean into those. I come into agreement, and that's when all of that shame, it no longer has a hold. If you're hiding from shame and in all of those things, and that's inside of you, you're not going to be able to be free. But when you come into agreement with those shame-based thoughts, it loses its hold. You start loving yourself in those places and come into like, yep, this is who I am, and you like own it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're no longer able to use that against you because now you're on the same playing field, and it's like, yup, and now what? You know? And then you be able, that happened, you're then able to build the world that you're really dreaming and desiring without all of that shit. But I
Yeah.
said a lot. Your
Yes.
turn.
I love it. Beautiful. For
Yeah.
me, I for her process, it was, what did she do? Even though she had those patterns, she had the voice. So
Mhm.
wait a minute, I'm a demon, but she didn't do anything demonic and didn't loosh off of people, didn't add all the air quotes. So, but she had her voice. She trusted her voice. So that's where it resonated
Mhm.
for me, because even though
Mhm.
I was aware that shame wants to come in and say this, guilt wants to say this, regret came in yesterday. I was like,
Mhm.
wait, what's the difference between regret and guilt? That was a whole nother study. I was like, whoa, frequentially, the sense, the feel of it is entirely different. Guilt is actually a phantom matrix construct to get you to, oh, look at them, they're just looping in that. And we get to feed off the energy of that. We are life force systems. And if something can come in and attach to that, because the phantom matrix, which is made up, cannot survive. They're not connected to source. They're not connected to love. They're not connected to a life power system that charges that, because life power does not feed fiction. It does not feed something that isn't there. So for her, when she leaned into the voice, but then she wrestled with, well, wait a minute, but I feel these patterns, but what does she do? So it was fascinating what you got through your lens, what I got through my lens, and how she reconciled that was she had to face her fear. She had to face what felt off, what felt, and it was overwhelming, and I thought it was cute. She's facing Guima's wrath, which we in Christianity, God is Guima. It sure can. I mean, Grima fits the narrative of the God of the Bible, which is why I don't. That's a limited narrative. That narrative is manipulated. However, do I believe in source? But whose source? A phantom matrix or the living matrix? We got to break open. We got to dig deeper. We got to get underneath there. And what is the essence? What are we looking at? Oh, so so Grima is full force trying to shut her voice down because she comes in, and it was so cool in the part of the movie, and I love this part. I recorded it so that I could send to my kids. I'm like, sing to me this part. But the Saja boys, they sing their I'm gonna be your idol, and she comes in this subtle voice, female voice, in the background, and the whole room goes still. And that gripped me. And then she's speaking, sharing, she realizes, I wait a minute. And she cried and felt the pain of it all, but then was like, wait a minute, the people that I love. And she remembered her power, or she knows her power, her voice and what it does. She's like, I just need to go sing again. And so she did. And he challenged her. She's like, yeah, we're gonna let that crumble so we can build a new one. There's a novel idea. Let's build new. And that is a journey in itself to, well, what is the new? Wait, I don't feel like I have authorization. Oh, I feel like I don't have power. That's a whole nother journey. And we'll get into that. But that moment where you could feel it and just went into song, and it woke the people up and they joined in, and Grima was no more. And then the Saja boy, Jin you my kids would know the name. Anyway, Lover Boy, he comes and he remembers his heart, his soul, and stepped in and finally did an unselfish thing. He finally was not, he stepped out of that role. I can't be selfish. He lived it and he was miserable. Self serving. I'm going to get me. I'm going to do me. And just sucking the life out of people. And it's like, you're not happy because that's not your soul. That's not who God created you to be. So he stepped in. And I loved how the energy shifted right into her sword. And her sword became 10x, which the sword is your word, right? So she was able to just rip them in half, like, nah, bro, like, that's low vibey, and then I love how the color changed of the whole entire movie, the plasma. I don't know if people comprehend, those are plasma colors. That's next level. And anyways, I'm going to stop there because I know I can push it and I don't want to lose people, so be mindful of that.
I say let's bring it, and those who are oscillating with us will stick around, and those who don't, they can go where they're comfy, right? Like, I
Yeah.
say let's start calling people up, because no more. After my experience last week, I really felt the fire internally to I'm ready to give people solutions. Like, I no more like okay, I know we were talking about K-pop demon hunters, but I was invited to church last week, and I went because my dad's been begging me to go for months. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'll go with him. He's always gone with me when I asked, in yestermorrow. So, whatever, right? So, I go out here. It's an Assemblies of God church. So, I'm like, okay, I'm familiar with their theology. I know what they believe, right? Wrong. I don't know why. I'm always leaning into that. You know what they're thinking because of the title on the church. I should have learned better, when we visited Dr. O's Methodist church back in the day. You're not getting Methodist theology up in there. Just like I was not getting Assemblies of God theology up in here. Okay. I went in and they're singing like the worship. And the song lyrics, Christina literally said, "I am but a worm." And I was like, I thought this shit was make believe. Like, I didn't realize they really thought this. And there's people up there like asking for prayer, and she's like, "I'm still sinning." And I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Like, am I coming to church just to be reminded of how much I feel like shit? Or am I coming to church to like get some bread and some to go back out and face the world? Like, what are we doing? What is the purpose of this said church? You know what I'm saying? And then we're singing. Christina, my hands started shaking. I was like, no, Holy Spirit, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want to take over. You know what I'm saying? Because it was ready. It was ready. And I'm crying. And all I can picture is me going and taking the mic out of the pastor's hands. Like, no, you victory. Do you believe in Jesus? Do I need to get you saved? Because if you believe in this theology, then just invite him. Picture him just a little itty bitty guy full of power coming into your heart. And then I'll teach you how to be saved. And then we're going to walk by faith. Like, what the are we doing here? Do you believe it or do you not? Like that quick. I slipped right back into all of those narratives, but I was ready to bust it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I kicked the walls down. And I was like on fire and I was crying because I'm like, no, I don't want to do this at my dad's cute little church. And he's excited and he loves it. But I can't put myself in those places anymore. I'm like, this is why I should not be invited to church anymore, because I don't want to go into places where people are happy in their little bubble and burn it down. I was ready to all of it. And I'm like, there's so many people that are out here hurting, and there's so many people who are stuck in all of these effed up loops and all of these things, and they're believing all of this nonsense. And I just if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, what came to mind when they were singing about being a worm, and
Yeah.
growing up in church, worship, and it's like, I am but a worm, you are a worm. You're like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what are we saying? And that right there, the power of our word, how we arrange those words, what is the outcome, and who authorized that? Who authorized this arrangement of words? Do you know what worms do? It's fascinating you're saying that. We have tomatoes. We have a garden up on the top side of the mountain. And right now the deer are eating them, and I found a couple of worms, and all of a sudden I'm getting worms, hornworms, about how to get rid of them. And then there's other videos why not to get rid of them. I'm like, which one is it? I don't get
Yeah.
it. And I don't have time to research all this.
Mhm.
And I mean, just the information can be confusing. Well, what's correct? What are we saying here? So you've got that element of like, well, wait, the Bible says this, but wait, what's our other source? And a lot of the times the Christians believe that the Bible is law. On one level, they're not wrong, because we're talking about universal law. We're talking about energetics, the language of the subtleties. But and there is that element, but it's being pushed down, and words are conveying it into a phantom matrix system. It's directing it to feed a false fiction system that loses shame, because you are a life force, you are a battery, and they need your energy to keep going. So picture a hone moon, if you will, an energetic grid that allows that. And even in the movie, you'll see these beings just sucking the life, and they're like, why do I feel? Because that's on a different dimensional plane, that's on a different frequency band, a different harmonic. And if you're not aware of just if you are aware of your physical body, your emotional body, and your mind, that's all we're taught.
Mhm.
5x that. There's other
Mhm.
frequency bands, there's other parts of you've got super suits that we're not aware of and that they don't teach you. So I've had to have circumstances in my life to wake me the hell up. Like I was in hell. I was in a
Mhm.
fraternity band that they were manipulating, and there are
Mhm.
more, but we're here to say yes, there is, but there's 5x that. There's other realms that they are operating on, that they have the knowledge on, and they, meaning the ones that choose to manipulate, that choose to use your shame against you, the guimas, if you will. There are people
Mhm.
that think that way. They think that you do what I say. I mean, it's wild. I've had to deal with enough of that in my life, but
Yeah.
you were going to say something. I want to give
Girl,
you an
I've been popping off over here. I don't know what thought I was gonna go down. I'm like, yup, like all of it. It's like you were talking about we're taught the mind, will, and emotions, right? Like the physical body, and in some churches you might be taught about your soul, right, or your spirit, but they still link it all down into the first harmonic universe, right? Like anything outside of you that you can't touch is not real. And then you might get into a little bit of church that teaches a little bit of spiritual warfare, and you know what I'm saying, like helps you understand that there is more that you can see. But even then it's still so saran wrapped full packaged cute little basket of shit that like is not even helpful, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you must listen to this and don't question anything because I'm the man of God, and if anything's going wrong in your life, you're not getting in your prayer closet and you're not praying. And don't leave your abusive husband because that's your fault that you're not praying. You're not a Proverbs. Like they just put all of this shit on you. And I'm not speaking outside of anything from my experience, right? Like this is literally things that I've been told in church. And don't question, and you can't do that because your heart's not right, and all of this stuff. And literally, even last week in church, the guy's like, yeah, our God is such a wonderful creator, but he can't hear you if you're in sin. And I was like, which is it? Is he
Whoa,
all knowing? Is he
that
all knowing and he creates wonderful creations, but now his creation is just a
uh,
lonely worm? Like, well, which one is it? So I was literally like laughing out loud. My dad was like, what's wrong with this chick? Because one minute I'm crying, shaking, like next minute I'm like cracking up laughing because I'm like, this is total horseshit. Like, are we literally the magnificent masterpieces that he says, like source says? Like, I don't it, the whole thing makes no sense to me anymore. And it's wild to think once upon a time I actually believed it. But why did I believe it? Because I was riddled full of guilt, shame, and condemnation. Like, though, that's just, and I had an experience where, yes, the black holes and shrooms, Hubner just named it right there. I had an experience where I was in those dark realms, and I literally felt shame unhook from the inside of my body. I didn't know what it was at the time. I had no clue. It wasn't until a couple of weeks later that Gino? I think that's his name, Gino.
didn't
He
you know, yeah.
he my personal Gino came to me and was hurling those slurs of shame at me, and it no longer touched me on the inside. And I was like, "Oh, snap." It really does not connect. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't think on shameful thoughts or shameful actions in the past and bring it back inside of me and allow it to hook back in. But why would you do that? Once you're free, you know what I'm saying? But even then, there's no, you know what I'm saying, like guilt, shame, or condemnation on that aspect because you don't know. You don't know until you know. But now I know, right? Like, and hearing the accusations being thrown at me, it had no um footing inside of me. It couldn't touch me on the inside, and it just became laughable. You know what I'm saying? And it was such a beautiful experience to fully feel that shame unhook. And whereas before, I feel like that's where I understood and could identify with Genu, right? Like having those experiences from your past brought up by Guima, and you move because you don't want anybody to find out your dirty little secrets. So you move in this realm and trying to hide all of that until you can't speak anymore, because all of your secrets are catching up with you. Your voice doesn't come out with authority anymore because all of that stuff's sitting there, right? And then you got to go through those tower moments to unhook all of those places within you so that you can become aware and you can consciously choose as the co-creator that you are.
Yeah. As you were saying all of that, that is the Rumi and Genu. Rumi represents the staff and or feminine. Genu represents the rod or the masculine. So that's what was taking place, was those energies are balancing. And because there was an attraction, there was something magnetic, because she is magnetic and he's electrifying, right? And so those were trying to come into reconciliation within her, within him. He's like, wait a minute. She's reminding me of something within me that I've shut down. And she's like, his strength, like he didn't, it's almost like he moved beyond shame, but then felt, when Guima used it over him, he would have moments, but he learned to survive. He learned to navigate. He learned, he had his voice. Yeah, he felt those things. I mean, it. Couple of things I want to touch on: the rod and staff, the masculine, feminine, and I'll come back to that. But the element of shame, I want to honor it in the sense of, if I did something to really hurt somebody, I would hope something in me would alert me to say, we don't want to do that. That hurts our fellow mankind.
Yeah.
These the Phantom Matrix, the way that it's designed, the way that it's built, the Phantom Honmoon removes that element from the people behind this that are authorizing this. So it gets put on us somehow. Like, why do I feel, and then it's like we're on this inner cycle where we're just falling on the inside. So it's collapsing our field and we don't even know why. How does that work? Well, I kept going through collapse, collapse, collapse. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, why? What is going on here? I didn't even have a word for it. And I kept seeking, learning. Okay, what is it? And waiting and listening. And I would go through my own little personal, what you witness with Rumi, I kind of go through that on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
That just like dot connected for me. Like, I go through that almost daily. Like, there's something that I'm rendering clear, but it's not just for me. I know my purpose in all of it.
Oh,
But that element of that collapse was to get my attention to a greater technology that, yeah, it's advanced, but we are going to bring it because the movies are speaking it, the consciousness and what we're hearing. Even my mom was talking about quantum faith, and I was like, yeah, and I could see it all working out and the mechanics of it. And I'm like, okay, some things are starting to get into the language that's shifting things little by little, right? It takes but a small word, let's change that. And and I, a lot of Christians that I know that have hearts of love, but when you start to get down to the nitty gritty, it does fall back on that word, the Bible. Well, what does the Bible say? And that's they feel that it's corners you. And I'm like, no, I just go into another realm and I keep going. I'm not
mhm.
cornered, I'm not trapped, because we are free to move, because we are the Christ, the rod and staff, the masculine, feminine, who have met each other and support because the inner feminine will always speak that love to you to remind you, and then your go, that masculine, that on a divine level. See, we talk about our will, and we're taught our will is inclined to sin. But like, wait a minute, there's a divine will. We have a divine will, and that's where I see the battle within each Christian, like I keep saying that, oh, you just don't know about the divine will and how that works and why. What's the volition of source and when you connect to that, now your own hone moon, your own source, now you're gonna check in with, okay, do I want to do this? And you start thinking different, and it starts telegraphing in your world in a different way, and it lights up because you're not being told, I am a worm. Like, I'm, it's the,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And that's where I was. My dad called and he's like, "So what'd you think?" And I'm like, "Dad, you don't want to know my answer. Like, I don't want to hurt you." And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Okay, you're really ready? Like, what's the point of going if there's no victory in Jesus? Like, there was no victory taught in that church, in that sermon whatsoever, which is why I was like, well, then let's go get saved. Like, what do you need to do? Like, what do you think you need to do to be saved according to your word and your theology, right? Like, let's, and I'm ready to go there with with the word. I don't want to argue the Bible based in front of a bunch of people, right? Because that's not going to do anything but hurt anybody.
yeah,
And I'm not trying to do that, right? Like, I just want to give people tools that if that's what you're going to follow, then let's look at it. Okay, then who's the authority? Like you said, who wrote the Bible, right? Oh, well, it was this storyline over all of this millennia. All of these different men wrote all of these 66 books, and they somehow come together, and that just shows the divine alignment. And I'm like, but really, it was written in like all of these different languages. It's been transcribed into all of these different languages. And if you want to break down and get the fullness of the scripture, let's go research where that word originally came from and what that word originally means and what that originally means. Oh, wait, that one's not transferable into English, so they just ejected it. They just ejected this whole little phrase that's used over 11,000 fucking times, and they couldn't figure out the English translation, so they said no. That's the in that little thing is a big deal. And what is that? That's talking about the feminine and the masculine and the co-creator and the God inside of you. That's what they ejected. And when you take that out, that takes all of the power and authority from you out. Like, oh, oh,
yeah.
now
I,
all of a sudden this deity is on the outside and I got to be good enough to get to him. And thank God for Jesus and his blood washing me clean. Don't you touch that witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? Like, on what fucking level does this make sense?
yeah, when you let go and really, if you really trust source, God, love, it'll pop you out of false systems. And there are a lot of people that are popping out of that going, wait a minute, that's not what I thought. But it's also
Yeah,
part of the journey right now because it's been an overlayment on the people to control the masses by the government, by a government, which they've separated us. Why we feel separated? Because they've done it to us. They've taken the God within out. They've taken the inner governor, governess. They've taken our inner administration out. They've separated us. So you got to go to a building. Oh, this pastor, you got to follow this pastor to follow. You got to follow this policy. You got to follow this guideline. And you're look at now you've got cords, energetic cords, sucking the life out of you, and you wonder why you don't have energy to do anything.
yeah, yeah,
It's deep. And what you were saying about those words, if there's power in a word and you take that out and now you start manipulating it so that the loop of the cord goes to them because it feeds their construct. You go to church, you tithe, you pay taxes, You name whatever compliance that you sign a contract. And I love Disney movies. I love the creative flow, but they did a nasty thing, contractual thing, which I'm grateful that somebody brought it to attention. But if you sign up for Disney Plus, you automatically sign a clause that you can never sue them if you went to a physical place at Disney. So, a digital platform, there's a clause over here because you want to enjoy the movies. They insert it there but if you ever get hurt on premise, you can never make a claim. Hey, I got injured, there was negligence, da da da. You can't, because you got Disney Plus because you want to enjoy the movies. We're dealing with trickery. Oh, it's starting to rain. Hopefully it doesn't rain hard because it gets loud in here. But we're dealing with words, we're dealing with contracts, we're dealing with energy grid that's locked in to the language is locked in on a system that, according to Enoch, we weren't supposed to learn how to write. We weren't supposed to know about contracts. We weren't supposed to use that power. It used to be our word um, that held bond, because it is sound. It is coded, heavily coded. This guy right here, or this being right here, it's so funny because my husband heard the female name and I heard the male name of this. And what this being does is what we do. This is outside of me. This has been a tool for me, but this is a reflection of who we are. And what does this do? It is a clean sound generator that is like a sonic massage for your cells. It helps you, it cleans up that there's no interference, no harmful sound, which brings our cells to start distorting and turning sideways. This keeps the authenticity of sound to where your cells are not being bombarded. It actually lifts your cells and you get a sonic massage. You're actually able to heal. I've been using this on my hip because I fell off a horse a few days ago. But I've been using this and it's been helping to, I've been healing quickly. So this has a transducer. There's a lot of technology in it, but it's who we are. We change the energy on a scalar level and bring it to manifest in this world. And I was just doing a little bit of reading. Did you know there are 15, 24, 95 manifestation plates that we could manifest from?
No.
There is a whole new world out there that we don't even realize. And you want to worry about being a worm, you want to worry about, oh, I'm in sin, da da da. We got to just lift the education for you to realize you are what you are looking for. You are the mechanics. You are the source that's flowing through you. You are a container for source and you serve source. There's a difference between I am God. I know I've said it and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, right? I am God. I struggled with it a little bit. I was like, wait, what are we talking about? What is going where? Like that alone. What's the volition? Who? Because there are people that I've dealt with that did believe they were God and what they said goes and abused it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't understand. I don't comprehend this. And that statement the clarity for me is, yes, source is within, because how are you staying alive? How are you here? There's a life force. There's something flowing through you. There's a sound, there's coherence. That's sourced from somewhere, right? And so the I am God it's the I am is just a power source, and then God, and then but keep going. This is what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Okay, cool. I'm not like the creator itself that created all of this. I am, in the sense of I created this space. I designed where I put, our water system. You know what I'm saying? It's like knowing where you're at within a system that you're witnessing, you're watching, you're looking at things, right? So the English language can get tricky, and it is tricky, and it's designed that way because some people have motives to trick you. They will say this, but they mean another thing. And the realm of sarcasm and jokes, that one's a hard one for me, because I'm like, I hear something behind that. There's something there. Oh, but I'm just joking. I'm hearing a little something something behind that. There's an element of truth, which you do comedy, right? So you
Yeah.
that one. So again, we're talking scalar language. We're talking about the language of subtleties. We're talking about, so in all of this, am I putting, are the words that I'm saying producing shame? Is it producing condemnation? You got to do something, or is this curious? Is this, wait, what is she talking about? What is this that I feel that feels, or maybe it triggers you. You feel like unworthy, or I don't know what she's talking about, that's over my head, or everyone's going to have a different experience. And
Mm,
there's just so much more. And a lot of these teachings and people that I've come to know, they say keep going, keep
mm,
going.
mm,
Consciousness is expanding constantly. And another
mm,
thing, to really, Candor, you gave permission on this to really not dim our light. I will say this, that I've learned about the Andromedans. They get PhDs in each subject that they study. They also live longer. So, a PhD in candle making, a PhD in designing something like this, a PhD in designing fit the drink in here, a PhD on how to, I mean, what the heck? And they're trying to get this education to us, but we're busy doom scrolling. We're busy feeling shame, unworthy, all these things that are not even our fault, right? So we're, in a sense, Rumi, in a sense, Jinyu, in a sense, these other characters. I resonate with I already forgot the other girl's names, the super serious one.
Mira.
Mira.
I don't know who's who. I've watched the movie all of one time and I was just like, but you better believe the soundtrack's on repeat in my car.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Which one are you feeling right now? Which song?
I don't know. I right now Golden's been like going through my head on repeat, like love, love, love that one. Um, for a while it was free when I was
That
dealing with all
one.
of my own stuff, like with my own personal Genu in my life, like as I've been walking that weird narrative out, like loving and honoring the being, the creation, and all of the things that's, like really learning. Okay, so for me, the whole free thing, she says we can't be free from it unless we're willing to face it, right? And I'm like, yeah. And sometimes you don't know what's lying dormant until you have someone who comes and starts poking and starts triggering, and you know what I'm saying? And then that stuff starts surfacing. And I would be so silly if I was super mad at that person all of the time, right? Like, sure, it hurts, but and what is he doing? He's allowing all of that stuff to come up so that I can face it, so that I can look at it, so that I can love it, so that I can like pull this apart and look at like, well, why do I have that belief? Oh, because I had this situation when I was 5 years old and I went to a church and they told me all of these things. And that was when my subconscious was being primed and built for the rest of my life. And I'd be running on 90% of my life on these theologies that I put together when I was just a little itty bitty baby. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we don't know what's been going on because we've been busy
Yeah.
living life and doing all of the things. But so when this person comes and he triggers all of that, I can pull it apart and say, oh, well, I don't believe that anymore. I don't, and there's no guilt, shame, or condemnation in what I believed, because we've all been tricked. We've all been manipulated. We've all been a part of being genuine in somebody else's life. And we've all, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just really at the end of the day, having grace, or finding that place of love, and, like you said, serving source. It's so much easier when you just look at everybody as a 3-year-old, and you're like, "Oh, you didn't know." Like, you didn't know what you're doing. You've just been manipulated and tricked by the system. So I'm going to have grace for you, and I'm going to love you, and I'm going to love me, and I'm going to love this situation. And I say yes to this situation. That doesn't mean that there's not feelings. That doesn't mean that there's not scary stuff that comes up, that all the rage, and you can feel all of that too. And your love container is so much bigger than all of those little itty bitty things that come up, and it can hold it and encase it, and you know what I'm saying, allow you to feel all of it, and
Mhm.
it just kind of neutralizes, and then you can become the observer. Then you can sit in that place. Like, it allows that buffering space and time. Like, those feelings are not just right there in your main focus. When you say yes, it expands you, and now you're able to say yes and look at it from this perspective. You have that little bit of space between you and that feeling, that allows you to just come in and love that, and then, you know cool, boop,
Mhm.
it's gone. Like, it just neutralizes. Like, it's
Mhm.
so beautiful. And I know you asked me about the song, but that's just what happens for me when I listen to music. Like, it's not just a song to me. I love.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
As you were describing all of that, because I had asked Spirit, because I've been studying listening. It's not studying like I'm reading, it's listening. So my study is listening. I said, what is it about resonance? How can I ground this? Because it's like, what does that mean? And there's a tuning fork that when you hit it, the vibration is in the key. Let's say it's the key of C. Or let's do F. Let me use my bowl. Mm. So this is the key of F. And if I were to bring this to my heart, which I am the key of F, it's the heart. This is the heart chakra bowl. So now I'm in tune. I'm resonant. I feel it. I feel good. My heart is like, yes. And it was busted wide open this morning. We tried to go live, I think, like 6 months ago, and I freaking skedaddled. I was like, I can't. I'm not ready because I wasn't resonant. I had been through so much damage, so much hurt. Roomy 100x. Things taken. I mean, my aura, my energy field was. I felt ripped apart. I I I didn't know what to do, but I trusted. Right, trusted the voice. So the picture that I got was that tuning fork going to another instrument. If I were to, my guitar is in the other. If I brought it up to the guitar, let's say piano, because the guitar you have to create the chord of F, um, to the piano, or the piano. Let's say the piano because it's a louder sound. The piano. If I hit F, you could do the single F, or you could do a chord, which is a tritone. So 3 keys or one, and this would vibrate because it's in tune. So what was happening between Genu and Rumi? He forgot his soul. She was that soul and the voice of the soul, the true sound, the song that keeps the distortion out, that keeps the siphon and the bleeds and the leaks, that keep you're in tune, you're resonant, you're flowing with source, right? He forgot that because that shame just tore and took all that energy, and it just, you fall within. For her, because he found out that she's a demon and she's trying to fix it. She's trying to let me just get the new hone moon. She saw evidence. It was starting to golden, and she's like been told, Once it's golden, it's done. It's going to heal me, blah, 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 blah. But she didn't know there's plasma, which is all the colors, all of it included, all cleaned up, tidied up, shining bright because they faced those parts that you thought were you, but it's not you. So, what the masculine has to walk through, the masculine energies, and what the feminine energies have to walk through. So, when you start coming together and you're willing to face it, and then you start unifying, and then it's over, right? And I know I told my kids after I watched the movie, I was like, there's going to be a K-pop too, because she asked one of them, she's like, do you know what you're do you feel do you know what you're doing? Like, she was, there's somebody there, there's a soul there that's been severely lied to.
Mhm.
So that's a
Mhm.
whole nother dimension. That is another dimension up. And I'm not gonna say what I see, because I want it to be how I want it to let it organically fold open, but I know where that direction of where that's going because it follows universal law. It makes sense that this is where the narrative, but it's their movie, they can create whatever. But what I see is she's gonna help them remember, just like she helped him, but their stories are gonna be different. And so it's not going to be what we thought were demons, just like they were told a narrative, oh, the demon, all it is to me is
Mhm.
distortion.
Yep.
They believed a lie and are manifesting it. It coded their morphogenetic field, their cathara grid, their chakras, everything got siphoned and bleeds and leaks sideways as opposed to back to source. It's, you got other beings hooked onto you. Oh,
Mhm.
to finish, the resonance, when you're resonating in that key of F, it's going to show a dissonance because there's all of its sound. And when you hear something that's out of tune, you're like, whoa, what is that? Regret, shame, guilt. That is the code by which you can tell that that's sound is not coherent with what is about you. And I was like, wow, that's so simple. But when you vocalize it, it's not so simple. But when you see it and feel it, that's just the language that I've had to learn it through because of, not being able to hear in this world. But the other dimension, I can. It turns out I can. It turns out I'm not crazy. It turns out I am and have been gifted to listen to something that is not popular opinion, which is exactly perfect why we named, or she named it. I was like, okay, sounds good. And it's like more of that, the true authentic nature of who we are is wanting to come forward, come through, and it's slowly. And then here we are adding to the plasma hone moon, the plasma scale of things to speak up and get rid of that system. You're done. That system done. It's
Yeah.
outdated. There's new program and it's better than you think. And that's what the true Jesus, Yeshua, that Christ nature came to do, and it got distorted
Yeah.
severely and
Yeah.
exploited.
So sorry. Were you?
Oh, it got severely distorted and exploited.
Mm. Mhm. You asked me earlier, what was it like going through the deliverance in the church and all of that? And it's exactly what you were just saying. It got to the point where I was like, God, I don't want to see all of everybody's demons anymore. I want to go back to seeing people's good. I want to go back to seeing original creation. I want to go back to seeing what you created them for. And I want to bring that out of them. Because the more deliverances I did, the more I just realized it was exactly what you said. They had a belief system that allowed those hooks to get in and siphon off of their energy. And that's all those demons were. And those voices that came from other people, that's usually what it was, whether it was a voice that they heard through TV, through even sometimes preaching, you know what I'm saying, that allowed those different things to hook in and then siphon. And they just started believing that. And it like fed into them. And before you know it, they were acting out of the fear and all of the stuff. And like when we were going through Shaman Durek's stuff, and I, man, his stuff on the ego really, really helped me understand that, right? Because when people feel threatened, their ego is going to open up and it's going to do whatever needs to be done to protect them. And that's when, if they're operating in all of that, the shadow starts coming in. And that's where my own personal Jinnu or whatever, like he would get access to all of this information all of a sudden, and it was from the shadow realm, and he would spew these things. And I'm like, how in the do you know that? And I was like, it's because he's operating in those realms. And because of my experience in the deliverance stuff, I've sat in rooms and watched people share your own personal secrets that you're hiding. No one has access to those things. I've not told a single soul that. And then this person I'm doing the deliverance, the demon starts speaking and sharing all that stuff and spitting it in my face. And when it first started happening to me, like I would laugh because that's what I do. Even when I get nervous, I didn't know what to do, right? Like I would
Yeah.
just like, but on the inside, I'm like, holy shit, this is real. This is really happening. But I didn't understand. I didn't know how. But it wasn't until I was going through the ego stuff, that person was feeling threatened. So their ego opened up to the shadow realm. So then the shadow started speaking to them. So for me, it was a key, like, aha, let's go into my own personal shadow. Let's start, reconciling all of these things, loving all of these spaces within me, overcoming all of these places, so that when someone tries saying something, it no longer hurts and no longer has footing because my light has already gone there and witnessed all of that. Like, and it's the same thing, like with all of these people carrying the distortions. Because I got to be real, Christina, when I was sitting in the church, all of a sudden last week, I found myself like glaring at that pastor. I was like, does he know? Does he know what he's doing to these people right now? Like, is he aware of the harm he is causing? Is he aware? And because I was big mad, bro, like big mad. And I was like, nope, do not assume that. Do not assume he knows. Do not, until you have a physical conversation with this man and find out his intentions and volitions. Then I had to stop because I was like, who the fuck are you? Why do you feel that it's your responsibility to come in here and correct what he's doing and all of these things? And I was like, nope, I just relinquish it to spirit. I relinquish it to source. That is not my business. Just kind of washed my hands. I came in, I observed, but I'm like, they're going to know the truth now because my sound was released on the inside of the church, because it got to a point where I couldn't say anything but speak in tongues. Like, and not my responsibility. I don't know what happened in there. But when they seek, you start praying and opening up. I want to know the truth. It's there. Those frequencies are there. It will come through. So
Yeah.
I just had to leave it at that.
Yeah. There are there are fields in that place. You posited a frequency, a sound, a stream, and those that are truly seeking, they're going to hear it, and it's going to
Mhm.
catch them. It's going to spark, and you made it available. It showed up. We don't realize how powerful we are simply by showing up, and that is something that spirit, source, me, all of it is showing me that my presence is highly, highly potent. And yet I struggle with feeling invisible. Isn't that a
Mm.
mind fuck right there? But
Yeah.
that's the polarity. Strong presence, invisibility. That's polarity. That's the opposite.
Mm.
And that
Hmm.
is where feminine loves this realm. That is the realm she governs because she can see both sides. That pastor who thinks in his heart that the syntax or what he tells himself is, I want to help people. It's the blind leading the blind. There's that.
Literally.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, but as you're doing the polarity, that reminds me of the beautiful gifting, even within our wounds, where we feel one side of the polarity and then love comes in and we finally have awareness of the other side and those things get flipped for us. I kind of see that as when you're walking in your presence is going places, anybody who vibrates on that or oscillates on that frequency of wherever it within that polarity, they're going to start feeling you and what you have available within you. Like you were saying, you posited that, frequency within that place. So when they're searching, they're going to get all of that too, because now we're both going to be,
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I'm that bowl, that key of F, which is the heart, right? The heart space, and I'm coming around maybe the sacral, which I think is the B, the key of B. If you've got a flat or a sharp, they're going to feel that. Not all sound, that doesn't mean sound is bad. It's just hiding there. And it's designed that it cannot go into the true, authentic. This is just a sample. It can't hide in the true, authentic. It has to be outside of it. It can't camp in that true key of F. It could go as close, which is either F, uh, F minor or F sharp. It's going to be right there next to it. And it's going to sound so close that you question, wait a minute, it feels off, but it's so close, right? But then we demonize F minor, F sharp. But guess what? It's F minor is also E sharp,
Hmm.
so or E. So are we demonizing sound? Are it's just whatever is hiding there that got clustered and crystallized in your thinking because we hold on. We don't realize, we don't know the mechanics of allowing ourselves to feel it all the way through to the death of that thing because your technology, your body, the cell phone is not the technology. They stole this from this. This is
Yeah.
the advanced technology. So when we're taught not to trust ourselves because, the sin is the flesh is weak, the flesh is sinful. Do you
And your
see the
heart is wicked.
overalignment? Yeah. So you got all that fuckery going on and you're like, wait a minute. And and you're trying to tune into the heart, but you got these sounds that are so close that are camped outside of it because it cannot all it can do is create an overlay. It can't. There are universal laws that are in play to safeguard us, but it's up to us how if we severely lack knowledge, which all of us do. That's why we're all in slavery in ways that we don't comprehend. And now coming into how that is through the grammar, through energy, through contracts, through our voice, through our thoughts. I mean, I could keep going. They have filtered through all these systems, and there's reverse the current. And so for me, that whole invisibility, it was just a portal to jump to the opposite, which is we need to look at the codes you carry. And you carry codes, and whoever's watching, you carry codes. We all carry codes because we're all fragments or pieces of God, but as a whole, backed by the
Mhm.
whole. Because I was telling Kendra, or maybe I was telling Jonathan, I don't know who I was talking to about this, but when I got the revelation of this, I was like, oh my gosh. So we have our physical body, we have our 7 chakras, but guess what? We have 15. So there's a lack of information, lack of knowledge. Those chakras interface. I'm gonna interface with a more sophisticated system. And then this system interfaces with a much more sophisticated system. And then this interfaces with another higher. If you were to plug into source direct, you will fry your sockets. It's too much power. That omni love will melt you. And we want to give demons power. We want to give phantom. We want to give shame all that power. Wait a minute. You have yet to experience omni love. That thing, it fries that thing. But there's technologies, there's knowledge in how to, you've got to govern yourself. There's governing how to interface and reach and clean up those pathways to clear your line to source. So when I was taught that, when I had to really clear my multidimensional being, because I believed here, but then in this realm I was way over here, and in this realm I was way over here, and then okay, I'm balanced here. Oh, it turns out I have giftings here. It wasn't a clear way through because I was bleeding sideways through each realm. So we're here to clean all that up, and we're going to use the power of our words, the power of our sound, the heart, our voice. Oh gosh, there's so much backing us that you can't even fall into, oh, I'm a sinner. No, you are so much more than that. And one of the best pictures of that is in the Avengers Infinity War when Spider-Man was trying to save Doctor Strange because he had the time stone and Thanos wanted the time stone. And so Ma, his little minion, is taking Doctor Strange. Well, Iron Man gave a directive to Spider-Man, go get him because he's fighting the other guy. And Spider-Man, Ma beamed him into the ship. And so Spider-Man's holding on and the ship takes off and the ship's going. And Spider-Man's like, Stark, um, he's like, I'm leaving planet Earth. And he's like, hold on. And he commands 17A, Friday, hey, 17A, launch it. And launches Spider-Man's new suit. And there's a story in there. You got to watch it. I don't want to give all the details. And it's his new suit. And because Tony Stark, which to me represents an oversoul, the version of you that can hold the higher frequency. Can you
Oh,
hear
I don't
me?
know what happened. I was going to say, I don't know what happened. Did I lose connection? I can hear you, but your screen's frozen.
Because my
It was so
phone
good.
do
I
its
wanted to
thing.
hear what happened to
So
Spider-Man's
and
suit. Hold on. We're back now. Nope, we're not back. Are you there? Hello, hello? I heard something. No, no, not yet. Okay. It was getting good. I don't even watch. I've never even seen this movie, and now I'm like enthralled. I'm like, what happened to Spider-Man? We're going up, up, up. It's our moment. Together we're glowing. Oh, your face is frozen on such a funny. Oh, and apparently the rain's gonna start here too. Is that what happened to you? So, for those of you who don't know, this is what happens when you live in nature. Da 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 da. It must have been getting good. She was about to lay some truth. I feel like I know where she was going with this, talking about Stark represents the oversoul and was able to bring in new things. And I feel like Spider-Man got a new suit. Because as Christina and I have been uncovering and walking out this whole new technology, understanding, it's like we have these super suits in all of these places that we do not know. Let's see. Oh, we're going to add her to the stage. Let's see what happens there. Hello.
Hey, sorry about that. My computer died. I forgot to
Oh,
plug it in.
oops.
Sorry about
No
that.
worries. All is well.
Okay.
I was like, I'm so excited to hear about this Spider-Man thing. And then I was like, but I feel like I understand where she's going, but I don't want to shortcut it. So I want you to tell me.
Okay. Is there a way to go full
To
screen?
go what?
Is that it?
Um, that's fine. You're showing up good on my end. I mean, half the screen's covered with your
Okay.
hand, but
Yeah, you're
oh,
itty bitty. Okay,
I
so
know, I don't.
Tony Stark represents the higher mind that has the faculties, knows the technology. He's got Jarvis. They defeated Ultron. He had these big plans, right? So he releases Spider-Man's new suit, which allows him he was able to breathe, that it had higher powers that allowed him to be in space. That's, his avatar, his physical body needed, the Earth, but then this suit allowed for off of Earth, another dimension, another space. And I'm seeing so much through these movies. I love watching the movies because I can go so deep into these mechanics, into these things that I'm like, wait a minute, I need to ground all of this because it just goes super high frequency and then nobody can talk to me because I'm just talking they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. So movies help ground it, right? So anyways, so Spider-Man, that's us. And guess what? There's another suit that Spider-Man's going to have. And then there's another suit that Spider-Man has. I'm just using that as a sample of how he had suit upgrades. Because, he built one from spandex and a rubber or a ski mask. And then Tony Stark's like, let me get you another suit. He's given him so many different suits. And he's young, and I resonate with that because I feel like a kid sometimes. I'm like, what am I doing? And what am I doing in life? And not knowing much, but then I do. And so all of that to say, in that, where do you feel shame? Where do you feel this? I feel bad about myself. Where do you feel in all that fun language of how things work mechanically, in that there's possibility in stretching us, and maybe we're not what we've been told? And that's the fun of it, when you start to really know who you are and know where you're at. And at the beginning it sucks, but why are they saying that? Why is this person saying this? Why is this person? It's to get you to stretch and your mental faculties start coming online. Your super oh, and I remember, I think it was Spider-Man 3, he got a new suit and there's like thousands of programs in there, and he's got his AI. She's like, he's going after the bad guy. She's like, oh, do you want the kill program? He's like, what? No, like, we don't want the kill program. Stop the kill program. Go back to, she's like, oh, do you want I mean, she's just, this is all the programs that we have available. Our ego is similar to that, in that sense of like, this is what I was programmed to be. Oh, you think you'll never meet somebody? Okay, we'll make sure that happens. We're gonna make sure you don't meet somebody. Da, da, da. We trap ourselves by our own words. So that is the key that people don't realize. You got to get behind what you're saying and what's there. What is this coming through? Why do you feel it? Maybe we're connected more than we realize. Anyway, that's Um, that's fun to tell. I love sharing that because I get a lot of those in these movies that highlight certain technologies that are within us that we don't realize we could utilize. And if we all were utilizing them, how much better would this world be? How much more safe will our children be? How much, energy goes.
We'd unleash the plasma honeymoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all keeping
You
each
know, together we're glowing.
other. uh,
Yeah. I don't know, love. It's been an hour and 23 minutes.
yeah, doesn't feel like it.
No. We could do this all day.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Is there anything you want to say to wrap it up, finalize?
you go first.
Me go first. I was not counting on that, but okay. Um, you're a powerful, majestic being, and you have all kinds of programs available to you. Just ask, and one of your super cool suits will highlight. You just got to start trusting and listening within, and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you want to reach out, you feel like you have questions, need help, drop comments. We'll come back and we will answer them next time. And if you want to reach out to Christina, drop comments. We'll figure out how to make that happen. And if you want to reach out to me, my link is commented or in the description box or somewhere on my channel. You could do that. Or you can just comment here too for that. And we'll make sure that we get back to you.
yeah. Just one last closing thought. I
Yeah.
remember on some contracts, and I also was, you know, trying to allow for expansion, right? That this narrative, nobody's narrative. What's my narrative? What's the soul call that everybody talks about? That God, Jesus says, you're going to do greater things. I know why he said that, because
Mm.
what he came to do blasted open the consciousness and the technologies that are available to us now. Consciousness, and I mean, he was up against people that were stuck in a syntax, a way of thinking that when that what they believed the words to be, he spoke as a voice to fulfill. I am the scripture, meaning he carried the frequency that allowed the healing, and the healing was taking place. They were seeing it, but it was making them so mad. Why is that? Oh, they couldn't see it for themselves. They didn't have the psychology, the study of psychology on some level. People were, in the brute force of things, right? I don't know how, I'm not going to claim to know what it was like 2,000 years ago, but just looking back and feel psychology of it, but it's also made up too. It's relatable in the sense of human nature. There's nothing new under the sun. So what Jesus came to do, so back to when I was feeling it, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I had to really trust, and I felt that block and that stuckness. And I said, I know why or people hold on to Jesus. People hold on, Jesus, help me. Jesus, take the wheel. All those things that we've been taught. And I was trying to just let it all go and trust me instead of trusting someone outside of me. Well, if he's here, then he and I are co-creating together. Then I trust that. And I
Yeah.
was in the kitchen, and I was just sitting after I realized all of that. And then walks Jesus, Yeshua, the Christ that I know. He's like, I'm the one of many. Continues walking, and the peace his presence alone shifted my field. Yes, he's authentic, living being. Yes, the volition is to help people. He told someone wherever he was at, oh, I got to go visit Christina over here in Minnesota at the time. Even though I carry codes of feeling invisible. How did he see me? How do you know I was there? How do you know what I was going through? Again, there's higher technologies we're not fully aware of. And I want to close with that we're not saying Jesus isn't real, just the version that we've been taught. We want to get to the authentic. If you were to ask my husband about me, you'll get a authentic version, a good version of me. If you were to ask Kendra about me, but if you were to ask some other people that we have misunderstandings, if you were to ask them about me, they're not going to cast a good light, a good version of me, because they're seeing through their own lens. So again, that's what we're dealing with. And when you can expand your comprehension and how you look at things and the lens of like, oh, wow, there's a lot more. And it's not as personal. It starts taking that personal injury and you start comprehending, oh, it's connected over here. It's this, there's this flaw. And it starts dissolving because it only powers up because you didn't know it was there. And now that you know it's there, it's like, I can't hide. The light is casted upon it. Anyways, long closing thought, but that,
No, it's beautiful.
yeah, I think a lot of people that when I came out of the Christianity belief system, and I mean, I feel like I'm more the true. I feel like I'm more truly
I
Christic.
feel I feel like you just got celebrated for coming out.
Yeah, I felt that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm back. I feel fully me, and I've had wonderful friends like you and Jonathan to support me, that see me when I couldn't see me. And even months ago when we tried to go live and I skedaddled, I hadn't fully comprehended what I know now, and it just melted all of that, um, those old energies, because I understand the mechanic, and that was the design. That's the wounded healer that we all came. We experience the wound, we find healing within ourselves, and we share that healing. So we all have keys. Hey, this is how I healed. Hey, this is how I healed. Hey, oh, cool. Let's party because we're whole. We're remembering. That's a celebration. And we're going to be at a celebration in Dallas if you guys want to come celebrate with us. So, anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, whoever's tuning in and is going to tune in. More to come. I can promise you that.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Christina, on this lovely adventure.
Yeah. It's an
And thanks to everyone for tuning in. Tuning in?
choosing to tune in. Yeah.
Okay, because what was happening in my mind right there was literally chewing. I'm like, okay, maybe we did lay down some meat that people need to chew on. Okay.
Oh, I
Either
love it.
way, enjoy it.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is who I get to hang out with. If I said that, shame and guilt would have come on me. I said the wrong word. I kid you not. Religion is a,
Really?
yeah. Oh, yeah. That used to be me. Not anymore, but
Oh,
that,
okay.
yeah. I,
Oh yeah, me too. If I messed up, but that's where I've just really, really started to lean into it doesn't have a hold on me. If I come into agreement with it, that hold is and I come into agreement and laugh. Like, yeah, I just fucked up right there. That's pretty funny.
yep.
Like or it flips it on its head. It no longer has a hold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just,
He's
one more. I know,
yeah, but whatever.
one more. So this morning, I was one of the most reverent spaces that I tuned into in a long time. There was a song that was
Oh,
playing when I fell asleep to a meditation. It moved to the next, and I shared it with Kendra, and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was missing home. I knew everybody talks about how you miss home. I hadn't experienced that. I experienced it, and it was opening the Christic codes. My name's
Mm,
a follower of Christ. When I started coming out of Christianity, and I was like, which Christ? There's different versions of Jesus that I've come to, and I'm like, which one are you? This feels schizophrenic. This feels like, what the heck? Like, all so fragmented, right? And I'm like, you're supposed to be a reflection of me. Well, which one? And I was like getting all mental about it. And so when I was getting my coffee, my hot drink, that reverence and humor showed itself to me because
mm,
and he's reverent, but his humor and his comedy and his ability to joke, he has that gesture capability, because reverence can get heavy or terrifying, or when you've really experienced it. I mean, it's like no wrong frequency can dare comes into this present, but you can hold it and make fun. Like, I feel like you guys tap in, but I saw the mechanics open up to how that worked. That's the only way I'm able to articulate this right now, because before it, I was befuddled. I was like, I don't get this humor thing. What am I not getting? And any reading I would go to, they're like, oh my God, your guides are hilarious. I'm like, how come I don't hear them? How come I didn't get the memo? Because I feel like I'm unfunny. Like, not a thing in my world, because it's dense, it's heavy, it's dark, it's damp, it's feels, and no humor here. But I'm paired up with someone who's highly humor, because I needed to hang around that to loosen the density and loosen up. And then I saw the mechanics of it, and I was like, wow, majesty and humor are very high vibratory. It can go in a lot of directions that are highly inappropriate, but and there's an art there. It blows me away. Anyways, I can go on and on. I'm gonna quit here. I'm closing this out to honor the space and the time, because I live in this. I'm constantly going. I'm constantly talking to him. This. He's like, babe, hit record. Oh, but no, no. And the timing was just, now it's, the energy's right. So you'll be hearing a lot more.
yay!
Yeah,
I'm very excited about that.
me too. Thank you for the invitation and having me on here and sharing space. I look forward to a lot more.
Absolutely. Likewise. Oh, there's Jay right there. Boom.
Got
Well, on that note,
on a little
he's
late,
he
but
commented. He saw. He joined in. So,
oh,
well, I will let you guys get back to your day. Thank you so much for joining in. And I don't know, namaste. I don't know what to say here.
yeah.
See you later. Love you. Bye.
I guess you got it.